I'm Macy Eglund. Only in Newsday, Long Island Muslims are proposing an exclusive, first-of-its-kind cemetery here on the island. Virginia Huey tells us why residents in Bellport are split on the idea.
I'm not going to go for this, I got to tell you. It's not the right, proper place for these people.
With this cemetery going in, I believe property value is going to go down on Carver Boulevard.
Although this is not my culture, I believe everyone should be able to have their own cemetery.
A heated debate at Brookhaven Town Hall about a proposal to build the first Muslim cemetery on Long Island. Abdul Aziz Boyan, the leader of the Hillside Islamic Center in New Hyde Park, presented plans at a Brookhaven Town Hall meeting last month. It calls for a 12,000 plot burial ground on nearly 14 acres of land on Beaver Dam Road in Bellport.
Muslims have been living here for centuries, and we hope to have the first ever, probably in New York State, have a Muslim cemetery owned and run by Muslims.
Boyan says it is a challenge for Long Island Muslims to find burial grounds that cater to the needs of their faith. As Newsday has reported, the Muslim section of Washington Memorial Cemetery in Mount Sinai is running out of plots. Boyan says mosque members go as far away as New Jersey and upstate New York to bury their loved ones.
That is a huge hindrance for us as far as that, that obligation that we need to bury the body right away. So that's why we would prefer to have it here close by.
Opponents of the proposed cemetery expressed concerns ranging from traffic issues to possible contamination of drinking water wells by embalming fluids or decomposing bodies.
There have been multiple articles and studies that show cemeteries are a vast source of contaminants: arsenic, formaldehyde, heavy metals, gases, viruses, bacteria, and minerals.
This project will generate intermittent, high-impact traffic events, particularly during funeral services.
Brookhaven Town Supervisor Dan Panico said those concerns are unfounded.
They do not embalm. There's never large traffic numbers on that portion of Granny Road.
We will have the security fence, we will have a well-leaded place, and so this will be nice for them.
For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
You can read more about the cemetery plan on our website, newsday.com. Click Get More below that Newsday TV video box. A West Babylon man heads to court today in connection with a deadly carjacking. Police charged Jason Butte Champagne with the death of 65-year-old Donald Clune in 2024. They say Clune was sitting in his car on Brook Avenue in Deer Park when at least one person pulled him out, beat him, and then stole his car. He died 2 days later. The countdown continues toward a potential LIRR strike. Governor Kathy Hochul spoke about it in Manhattan yesterday, saying she is committed to getting LIRR workers a new deal to prevent a system-wide shutdown on Saturday. The strike would cause chaos for about 270,000 daily riders. Only in Newsday, the southern pine beetle is changing Long Island's landscape. More than a decade after the insects were first discovered in Long Island's forests, they've now killed thousands of acres of pine trees, especially on the East End. Environmentalists say protecting the area is vital.
It is a globally rare ecosystem. It's only one of 3 Atlantic coastal pine barrens ecosystem in the whole world. So there are, species here or species assemblages here that you can't find anywhere else.
Coming up, the plan to slow the beetle spread. Only in Newsday, students at Jericho High School are breaking records. The class of 2026 has 21 valedictorians. The seniors earned the honor by getting A+ in every class over the course of their entire high school career.
I think we put these students in a great position to have success. We gave them opportunities, and they take advantage of the opportunities.
So impressive. Some of the students are going on to study artificial intelligence, math, finance, and global affairs. Well, financial help is on the way for small businesses impacted by this winter storms. The federal government is making $2 million in low-interest loans available. It's for businesses and nonprofits that suffered financial losses between January and February. We all know it was a rough winter.
Why are you looking at me?
I know. Still waiting on those spring temperatures, Jeff. Where are they?
They're in sight.
Okay,
finally.
Good.
And you know what else is in sight? What do we love to talk about? What can we not do on the weekends?
get out and enjoy it.
Both days, right?
Yeah.
Finally, we have a weekend coming up where we might be able to
Love
do
it.
that. So I'm very happy about that. We also have some much needed rain on the way in between, and we will get to that. But let's start by talking about those temperatures after we look at this gorgeous shot out in Southampton right now. I mean, we have seen some beauties here lately. This time, though, you know, it's a lot more sun than it is clouds. And oh, that's like postcard-esque right there. So I actually saw a couple of people strolling on the beach a little while ago. Cannot say I blame them. We are going to see some, you know, I wouldn't call it beach weather coming up, but if you take a look at the Climate Prediction Center's temperature outlook here, and it is going to be much warmer than normal for much of the country here. And this is as we go towards Memorial Day weekend. Will we be able to hold on to this warm weather until the big holiday weekend? That is the question. But very likely above average, especially the southeastern quadrant of the country and even into the northeast. Maybe not a guarantee of above average temperatures, but it is trending very likely. And that's not to say you're going to not get a cool day, a cool shot of air here and there, but overall, the prevailing projections are that. And you can see that kind of marked in this weekend where we have those 70s in the forecast for you. It's a cool start to the day. Temperature is about 45 to around 50 degrees. Very nice out there. Again, plenty of sunshine. Light north wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. The winds are going to be picking up as we head into tomorrow. But again, let's enjoy today. Just a couple of clouds offshore. You'll see as we widen out, actually, we're just going to jump in here in a futurecast. The front that hung up just offshore yesterday and kind of kept it a cloudy day well out to sea at this point. And we have high pressure building in. So taking a look at the numbers, we should be around 60 degrees this afternoon. I do think some of us with that strong strong May sun at this point are going to bump up closer to 65 degrees. Really not much in the way of that. But again, the clouds come back tonight and we are tracking that rain for tomorrow. Showers maybe get quickly grazed as a little wave passes north of the area. This is our warm front here. And then we're going to see a pretty quiet day tomorrow. So most of Wednesday dry. Times of clouds, maybe even a couple of pokes of sun, but then things go really downhill as we head into tomorrow night. And Thursday, we'll have this cold front coming through in a very slow-moving front. So we will have to watch out for some localized flash flooding, especially as we head into the Thursday morning commute, as we do get some of those heavy pockets of rain that could sit over an area for a while. And the ground is on the drier side, too, so a lot of that runs off into the streets. Could have a bit of a problem with some of the storm drains, so we'll keep a close eye on that for you. And it does look like the showers will linger into Friday at this point. But again, as we've been telling you, Long Island is running below average in terms of rainfall so far this year. We are looking likely to pick up over an inch of rain out of this. This is an interesting statistic, and this is going to be updated in a couple of days. Right now, 60% of the country, over 60% in fact, is under some level of drought. It's not that bad here in the Northeast, but as you can see, the bookends of the island are starting to enter that moderate drought category. So this will certainly help the situation. There's that low, kind of hangs up offshore and keeps those showers lingering into Friday. But it's out of here just in time for the weekend. High pressure builds in from the south, and that allows southwest or west winds to build in, and that's what brings the temperatures up to around 70 or so degrees. Could get well into the 70s, in fact, the second half of the weekend. Plenty of sunshine today. Temperatures, again, low to maybe mid-60s. Tonight, pretty mild out there as clouds increase. We'll be in the 50s, so I'm not really worried going forward here anymore about any frosty or freezing conditions during the overnight period. So if you want to go out and guard at this point, it's all systems go. We usually say Mother's Day is the kind of line of demarcation anyway for that. Not a terrible day tomorrow. Again, it'll be mostly cloudy at times, a little breezy as well. Could see those winds upwards 25, 30 miles per hour. Thursday, arguably the worst day of the week. I think it's pretty easy to say that. The rain will linger into Friday morning especially, but we should see some sun by later in the day, and then all systems go for the weekend. Outside activities both days, and it'll be warm out there, so make sure you are bringing extra water, bringing sunscreen as well. The sun is very, very strong at this point here in May.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Fire Island Ferries.
It's been more than a decade since they arrived on the island, and in that time, the southern pine beetle has destroyed acres and acres of trees across Long Island. They're especially prevalent in the Pine Barrens. Andrew Renger shows us the damage.
On a hike through the forest surrounding Brookhaven National Lab in Upton, it didn't take long to find the damage caused by the southern pine beetle.
There we go. Blue stain fungus and galleries.
The gallery's natural resource manager, Kathy Schwager, says are caused by the tiny beetle burrowing through the bark of the pitch pine trees that cover the lab's grounds and the Pine Barrens here on Long Island. The southern pine beetle is about the size of a single chocolate sprinkle, but they can kill a tree and forest rapidly.
How old is this?
Maybe a month, maybe 2. I mean, this tree is going to be dead in a couple of weeks.
The southern pine beetle first showed up on the island about a dozen years ago. Since then, it's devastated tens of thousands of acres and has created a wildfire risk.
It's scary.
So with all the damage the southern pine beetle has done here on Long Island, what needs to be done to get a handle on the problem? Well, the experts say better forestry management is definitely needed.
There's no silver bullet.
John Wernett, the regional forester from the state DEC, says the insect has done such damage because our forests were too dense, allowing it to reproduce rapidly and move easily from tree to tree. Now he and others across the island are working to thin remaining forests, cutting down trees and carefully burning acres of land, then incinerating the rest with highly efficient mobile air curtain burners. The goal here, he says, is to get the Pine Barrens and other forests on the island thinned out to slow the beetles' spread.
This is what the forest should look like. This is the end goal, is what we're looking for.
Meantime, the DEC and others are monitoring the insects' movement and behaviors with special traps.
With the traps, that's the early warning system.
That's what we're looking for.
Back at Brookhaven National Laboratory, Kathy Schwager says improving the island's forest has and will cost millions of dollars, but it's necessary.
So it's here, that's it. You know, we need to get our forests to a point where they're healthy enough that they're coming into some kind of equilibrium. So it's not to say you won't have outbreaks here and there, but there'll be a balance.
In Upton, Andrew Enger, Newsday TV.
Joining me now to discuss the wide-ranging effects this could have on the island's environment is Newsday environmental reporter Tracy Tullis, Kathy Schwager with the Environmental Protection Division of Brookhaven National Lab, and John Wernett, a New York State DEC regional forester. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. Tracy, we want to start with you, get a little background on this. Why are these bugs so prevalent in the Pine Barrens?
Well, the first reason I would say is climate change, because the southern pine beetles are native to the southeastern United States, but with the warming winters, they've been able to move north. They're now as far north as Cape Cod. And they've been able to survive the winters here now that they're warmer. And then once they did get here, they found in the Pine Barrens their favorite food. The prevalent pine species in the Pine Barrens is the pitch pines, and unfortunately that happens to be the type of tree that they like the best.
Okay, yeah, we're seeing it for sure. Kathy, why are the Pine Barrens so important when it comes to our environment? Why do we need to protect the space?
So aside from the fact that our Pine Barrens are located over our aquifer, so it's responsible for filtering, any water that comes through and water that we're drinking. It's important from an ecological standpoint because it is a globally rare ecosystem. It's only one of 3 Atlantic coastal Pine Barrens ecosystem in the whole world. So there are, species here species assemblages here that you can't find anywhere else.
Tracy, what makes the beetles' damage so devastating?
They have, by means of pheromones, which are sort of chemical signals that different types of animals, not just insects, use to alert other animals to danger, and in this case to a food source. So they can call in reinforcements, and thousands of beetles can come and infest a tree, and they can kill it very quickly.
John, let's get over to you. Are these pine beetles ever going away? Could we ever see the end to them at this point?
No, unfortunately, it's here and it won't go away.
Okay, so what is their lasting effect on Long Island, since this is something we're just going to have to deal with now?
The lasting effect is we're just going to see widespread dying of trees, sadly. But the hope is with the active management that we're doing that we can protect as many acres as we can.
Right. All right, Kathy, are there any positives to this situation? Because it kind of sounds like doom and gloom, right? Is there anything we can take from this that's kind of an upside to it?
I think so. I think it's brought to light. I mean, we're here, right? This is happening, and we're educating people. I think people are finally starting to realize that we do need to manage these forests. Pine Barrens they need management. They can't, if we don't manage Pine Barrens, we'll lose the pines altogether. And that's not just because of southern pine beetle, but it's because over time it gets outcompeted by other species. So we would, if you don't have pine, you don't have Pine Barrens, right? So, you know, we're finally, I think, getting this attention, which I think is really important. And, you know, I think at some point, you know, as time goes on, if we continue to do management at the scale that we need to, that we're going to come into some kind of balance with the southern pine beetle. You know, it's not to say that we won't have outbreaks, but I think it's not going to be at the scale that we're seeing now.
Southern pine beetle has also been spotted in Nassau County as well, but experts say they're less of a threat because there are no large pitch pine forests there. So my thanks again to Tracy Tullis, Kathy Schwager, and John Wernetz for their expertise on this topic. We appreciate you all being here. Thank you. You can read more about the southern pine beetle on our website, newsday.com.
Newsday Sports is brought to you by Sun Nation Energy. Need to maintain or repair an old solar system? Trust Sun Nation Service to fix it like new.
Now, the Knicks are gearing up for a return to the Eastern Conference Finals. Jamie Stewart and Newsday Knicks beat writer Steve Popper take a look at the team's staggering playoff stretch.
I'm Jamie Stewart, and if you're under the age of, say, 58, it's safe to say you've never seen the Knicks play this well in the playoffs. Coming off a 4-game sweep of the 76ers, the Knicks have won 7 straight playoff games, but it's how they're doing it that has everyone talking.
Jab step. He fires up a 3. That's good. Jalen Brunson.
The Knicks defeated the Sixers by 30 points on Sunday to complete the sweep, hitting 25 three-pointers, which tied the record for most threes by a team in a playoff game. Through the first 2 rounds, the Knicks have a 19.4 margin of victory per game. That's the largest since the NBA went to a 16-team playoff format more than 40 years ago. During the Knicks' 7-game win streak, they have won by an average of 27 points a game. We asked Newsday's Steve Popper, is this level of play by the Knicks sustainable?
The way they're playing is, I guess if you go back 53 years to when they last won a title, that's the last time you saw a Knicks team playing this consistently, this well. I'd say there's twofold to this. One, they're playing great. They figured a lot of things out. You know, it took an entire season to kind of get through it and the ups and downs. But I think they figured out what's the best for this team, ways to utilize Karl Anthony Towns, way to take some pressure off of Jalen Brunson. And defensively, they've really picked it up. But I think also you've got to take into consideration here that the competition hasn't been the greatest. You know, last year I think was a tougher test with Detroit in the opening round, who was better than what Atlanta has been this season. And then maybe, you know, if they got Boston in the second round or last year's Boston team, that's a different show than what you're seeing here from Philadelphia. This was a banged up Philadelphia squad that I don't think anyone expected them to be in the conference semifinals. I think the real test for them is going to be in the next round. Look, if they get Detroit, they're a team that dominated the Knicks in the regular season with the #1 seed. I think the Knicks are better now than they were then. And I think that Detroit has kind of proven that you can figure out a way to deal with them in the postseason by focusing on Cade Cunningham in a series. I think that's a real test. Next round, we're going to see just how real this is.
So for the second consecutive year, the Knicks are back in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they have at least a week to get ready before the next series begins. They'll face either Detroit or Cleveland for the right to go to the finals. That series will begin on either May 17th or the 19th, as the Knicks will have their sights set on advancing to their first NBA Finals since they lost to the Spurs in 1999. For Newsday TV, I'm Jamie Stewart.
Exciting stuff, and you can read more about the Knicks' second consecutive trip to the Eastern Conference Finals on Newsday.com. Click Get More below that Newsday TV video box. Well, it's finally barbecue season, and in this week's LI Works, Ken Buffa is looking at what it's like to be a butcher.
Grab some meat. We're becoming butchers.
Let's grab a number and meet the meat man behind the counter.
Hi, my name is John Poulos. I'm a butcher here at Cow Palace. I've been doing this for about 30 plus years. I'm happy that I get to feed people, give people the courtesy and respect and the service they deserve.
Pulo says to be a butcher, you have to be able to carve out as many skills as possible.
The butcher is trained from A to Z. He knows the whole part of the animal. What are good for roasts, what's good for steaks, what's good for stew, what's good for chopped meat.
And says the skills and knowledge you develop don't happen overnight. In fact, it could be a grind.
Grueling years, grueling hours, 12, 13 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week.
Dedication is one portion. Speed and the pressures of the job is another.
You got lists of meat that's ordered from the day before. Got customers calling in. You got customers lining up on the door. You need to take care of restaurants.
There you go. Quarter the chicken.
Now, I may not have speed, but I do have curiosity.
What's worse, ketchup on steak or well done steak?
I would say well done steak.
Yeah, me too.
It hurts to hear that.
And with the summer grilling season coming up, I was curious if this master butcher would share some advice on how to not yuck your chuck.
Worst cut I would say is the London broil.
Open.
Why? Because I just want to grill the outside. The inside I like them juicy. Biggest mistake is putting meat right over the fire.
Now, although butchers are known to spend most of their time in the back of the house, Pulo says the best butchers know how to operate the front.
Customers are your life. Customers are the key to everything.
Because if you can fill displays, orders, and tables, a job as a butcher is a cut above the rest.
At the end of the day, I know I fed a lot of people. A lot of stomachs have been stuffed. That's rewarding for me.
Ken Bufa, Newsday TV.
It's a massive operation. They've got a ton of people working there. You can see more LI Work segments on our website, Newsday.com. We highlight all of your jobs. Click Get More below that Newsday TV video box. You can see more on all of the stories you've seen today on Newsday.com and watch us streaming anytime on Local Now, YouTube, and the other streaming services you see there. I'm Macy Eglin here with meteorologist Jeff Banson. We've got more local news and your forecast coming up here on Newsday TV.
Let's go with Carissa for a day of station hopping in Babylon, Lindenhurst, and Amityville.
Some of Long Island's best stories are tucked inside places that have been here for decades.
Check it out at Newsday.com/hop.